Make some noise for your host, Kid Copious.
What up, perps? Kid Copious back in the bunker. Purple State Party, you know what we do. We're repping America, the center, common sense. And these little guys, yeah. Hey, look at that. Good shot. Tonight's episode is going to be titled, I just literally thought of it. I can't believe it took me all this time to think of it. The Brandy Before Christmas. We know what that's about, right? Come on now. We all heard the news. Somebody punked Sleepy Joe with Let's Go Brandon. He agreed, let's go Brandon. We're also going to go with Manchin versus Brandon, or Manchin on the Hill, something like that. But I wanted to stick with Brandon and movie themes. So we'll get to it. I find it funny that this is now being, the media wants to point it out as vulgar, and they're so upset about it, but, they were silent when people followed Kristen Sinema into a bathroom or hucked eggs at Larry Elder while using the N-word. But, right here, this nice lady sums it up, Liberals see racism where it doesn't exist, fabricate it when they can't find it, and ignore it within their own ranks. There we go. Thomas Sowell. We'll tie this all together. Thomas Sowell. Too much of what is called education is little more than an expensive isolation from reality. Whoa. Kind of calling out the woke, eh? Okay. Racism has never done this country any good, and it needs to be fought against, not put under new management for different groups. Yeah. That's one of the things that we're seeing going on, where people are actually trying to keep it alive so that people can profit off of it. People are keeping it alive so they have a political platform, so they have a way of shunning the other people. That they're upset about Brandon, but they have no problem referring to Republicans as a whole as bigots, for example. Like, we're all bigots. Okay, all right. Okay, sure. That's fine, But, that's what's going on. Stuff like CRT. And he's pointing that out. As a black man, he has a right, really, to speak about this. And we have a responsibility to listen, because he's speaking from a place of knowledge. He come on. Here is another one he had. Racism is not dead, but it's on life support, kept alive by politicians, race hustlers, and people who get a sense of superiority by denouncing others as racist. See? Just what I said right there. See, he backs it all up right there. And everybody should listen to it. But then, this is what we have here. If you're white and telling black people that they need to listen to Thomas Sowell or Larry Elder, it's because you're racist. See, just to be honest with you, if that's a true statement, if he really believes that, wow, see what I mean? Racism in their own ranks. Just because the color of your skin should not dictate what you think in your brain. We're fighting here for equality. And that equality includes the right to have your own opinion, your own way. Just because you are a member, I get it. I get it when you're talking about religions. Religions have scriptures and things like that. God handed down rules. And and as a group, you should follow them. Okay. All right, that kind of makes sense. But in amongst that, God didn't tell you who to vote for. You still got to vote with your own conscience. I love Jesus, but I always, first and foremost, default to love one another as you would love your neighbor. I don't understand how I can hate somebody or deny people rights. I'm playing with these all of a sudden. I just don't see that. I make up my own damn mind. And if people make up their own mind, but it doesn't fit into these people's molds, they get lambasted like that. And then he says, I can't say that people should listen to Larry Elder. Huh, that's not very American of you. But I don't know. I don't know who this dude is. I'm not going to waste my time looking up this Bishop Swan. A really great example of this just kind of denying the cancer in your own ranks. Sav here brings up, Jesse Smollett hated Trump so much that he ruined his entire life over him. We call it Trump derangement syndrome for a reason. That's I voted for Clinton the first time around. I ended up hating Clinton. I hate him with a passion. I hate his entire family. I don't want to hear from them ever again. And yet we have to. But whatever. But I'm not going to smear a person like that. I'm not going to go to those lengths. That's just stupid. That's just really stupid. It really is. And the one thing that's overlooked is that's the kind of shit that is racist. I don't care. I don't care if you hate me because I'm white. Yeah, I don't really care. But to try to blame people of a political party for a hate crime, I don't know. I just don't understand why, the charges against him weren't more severe. Well, whatever. At the end of the day, he did it to himself, and he's not going to pay much of a price. He'll probably be, off the list in Hollywood for a while, but he'll be back. He'll be fine. They're all about second, third, 400th chances. Oh, God, Democrats are just so stupid. And we're talking about the Trump derangement syndrome and the mean tweets, and everybody's seen this one. I hope you have, but I was listening to Ben Shapiro, and he was talking about how this COVID cult is like a religion, and how this is kind of like what you would read about in the Bible. This, hey, we love everybody, but if you don't believe in our way, you're going to die. And that's what he's saying. I mean, there's no proof that of his statements. We don't know what's going to happen, but once you make a statement like that, you're kind of tied to it. I mean, you're essentially rooting for people to get sick and for hospitals to get overcrowded and for people to die. You want to be proven right. The White House wants to be proven right. The Biden supporters want to be proven right. And, well, whatever. Y'all voted for this guy based on many different things, but one of them was unity. And if you really think that this is a unity thing, this isn't, because this isn't even partisan. Oh, and yes, there are Trump supporters who are, booing him because he said to get the vaccine. But come on, not everybody who's resisting it is a Republican. They'll tell you that, but it's not. So he's taking shots at everybody here. And this Omicron is turning out to be a severe cold. So again, if you're in danger of dying from a severe cold, then, you got to do everything you can. But the rest of us, I think, whatever. White House sends out Christmas cards with heartfelt message. He will get sick and die this winter. And people label him as compassionate. That ain't a compassionate thing to do, man. That isn't. People have their own reasons for not doing it. There you go. See, this is from Kristi Noem. This is from a Republican governor. Instead of dividing America into two classes, Brandon should remember that unvaxxed Americans are still Americans. See, that's just it. Like, if people don't want to get the vaccine, that's fine. I got it. Okay. Chances are I'm going to end up getting a booster shot. I don't know for sure. We'll see where regulations go because I'm basically just doing it for the permit. Hey, truth is the truth, man. But I don't support mandates at all. I just don't. Like, if the vaccine actually, like we thought in the beginning, okay? We thought in the beginning it was sort of going to make us a little more bulletproof and we wouldn't be able to transmit it. And, this was really going to put an end to it. It's obviously not. The best we have right now is that it helps with symptoms, but it certainly is not going to do anything to stop the spread. Okay, me being vaccinated is not going to stop me from spreading it. All right? Just isn't. It's a sucky fact, but it isn't. Okay? Maybe it lends some protection, but some is not all. All right? But we should be standing ready to support the people who do get sick and need to be hospitalized. This does not need to be an us versus them. That is not what America is. America is not us versus them within our ranks, man. America is us versus them on the world stage. In basketball and in soccer and in swimming and every other Olympic sport that bores me to death nowadays. It should be that. It should be in what's right and wrong. Saddam Hussein, he invaded Kuwait. We went into Kuwait and kicked him out. That's what you do. But no, we want to send money to Pakistan for gender studies. No, it's us versus them. Okay? If they can't get their shit together, too bad. Too bad. But it's now us versus them within our own borders. And that's despicable. Maybe I had these a little out of order. Nothing says unity quite like death threats from the president. You tell me those weren't. Okay, that's what he said. You can twist whatever you want, but he basically threatened death on people. Not personally, but, close enough that this stands. And it's crazy. And it's the far. It's the far side. We'll get into extremes in a minute. Progressive family leaves milk, cookies, and a rapid COVID test for Santa. Oh, man. The bee. I like to think that that's a team of people over there doing that because, man, I couldn't come up with that. But yeah, a lot of us are over it now. We're talking about like a variant that while it spreads like wildfire, burns like warm milk. I mean, it's just not. It's not the scalding inferno that they want us to believe anymore. It means that the masks aren't coming off. The diapers that are now clogging up sewers all over the place because people are just throwing them and dropping them. Oh, God. Everybody's out there worrying about something that, everybody is in this panic about it. And yet the masks are just being tossed left and right. We seem to give a shit about that. But now we're going to spend, $500 billion on electric vehicle charging stations and other freaking nonsense. See, I'm jumping ahead of myself. Here we go again. I'm jumping ahead of myself. But look, don't wear cloth masks. Non-surgical masks are facial decorations. Hey, that's coming from CNN, for God's sakes. And I love how they've spun it. They say, masks don't really work because of Omicron. It's just, this is masterful sometimes. It's a master's class in deflection. They want to label people on the right as bigots. Well, they're deflectors, man. That's what they do. I'm in the middle, man. Okay, I'm in the middle, but I cannot stand the way that the far left is being placated right now. And these power-hungry governors and presidents and shit that are like, they want to keep us in masks, but they don't want to keep criminals in jail. It's like, Yeah, it's just a twisted world we live in. Yeah. How many times have I brought up D-Day on this show? Yeah, there you go. See, because that's what it is. And I love how the partially false down there at the bottom, you know, is saying, well, it's not really 99.9%. Like, that's optimistic. It's like, okay, that's optimistic. Okay, so you're saying what? We should do it from a negative standpoint to what, 99.7? Like, you're still less than 1%. But yeah, in 44, man, they stormed the beaches in Normandy, and now they're wearing diapers on their face, man. God. Yeah. Nancy Pelosi got trolled by Let's Go Brandon. President Biden got trolled by Brandon. I can't believe he was... Yeah, well, I agree. Let's go, Brandon. It's so frustrating because what I kind of see here is that the Democrats have placated the left, the far left, which is the dumbest thing to do. And they're becoming a laughing stock because all right, so okay. So we see Pelosi and Brandon being heckled, right? The media then tries to say that this is evil and nasty, even though, again, I'm sorry, but Candace Owens gets called the N-word. Like what? People were always pleasant about what they said about Trump. I mean, my brother still calls him fat body. I mean, it's just okay, yeah, you know, but they can't take Brandon. And they try to cover it up and they try to spin everything as much as possible. But like a majority of the country is seeing this for what it is. You know, one of them was Manchin, who stopped the Build Back Better bill. Why did you have to have 3 B's in there? This is so dumb. But, you know, even ABC News, you know, is about to seriously set back an entire presidential agenda. His agenda is the left. And a great example here is listening to the far left or the far right, okay, and trying to see what you can do to meet in the middle. It makes sense because you can learn some things. But, you know, back in the day, people voted, myself included, voted to legalize gay and lesbian weddings or marriages, okay? And, you know, that was kind of a far thing to some degree, but it was a human rights thing for the moderates on the left, and even some people on the right could see the validity of the argument that they deserve to have the rights that the rest of us have, okay? So that makes sense, all right? But now, today, we're allowing trans women to compete in female athletics, shattering records, blowing people out of the pool, basically, 38-second victory. And that is not right. That's too far to the left. It's too far. We need to meet more closer in the middle. I understand you want to be left middle, fine, be left middle. You want to be right middle, fine, be right middle. But there's certain things on both sides that we can't tolerate. You know? You got enough of the racist yeehaw crap. We don't need that. We don't need, like, we found, you know, it was I forgot what city it was in, so I'm not going to say it. But, you know, some cops that were exchanging pretty, you know, racially insensitive messages. You know, crap like that. Like, we don't need that. Okay? We don't need that. We don't need to try to make every car in California electric inside of 10 years. Okay? And try to run it on solar and wind. Well, we know damn well it's never going to work. You just pretend. If you're hearing this and you still believe in electric vehicles, try to figure out how you're going to charge your cars, how the neighbors are going to do that, how much electricity this is going to cost, and then ask yourself, if we already are stretching the limits of solar and wind, how are we going to add that onto the grid? See, that's the problem. The switch to electricity involves a lot of infrastructure building. I mean, it's going to double power. You're going to have to double your electrical power. I don't see how you're going to do that with solar and wind. And they won't talk about nuclear reactors. If we met in the middle and tried to go with hybrids, cars that run on gas and electricity when necessary and kind of charge each other, now maybe we're getting somewhere. Maybe that's actually doable. But what the far is doing right now, the far left especially, is they are using what a lot of people consider to be normal planetary changes to bilk all of this money. It's too far one side. It's just too far. It needs to be in the middle. And that's what Manchin was bringing up. But the other thing that really stings, I'm sure, for the Democrats is Manchin is showing the country what a true Democrat could be. He's a Democrat, but he's way more towards the middle. He's looking at things, saying, look. This isn't going to work. We can't just keep throwing money at it. You have senators out there like Rand Paul who believe, yes, we can take all of this money to do something, but you got to take it from somewhere. See, politicians like that kind of make sense because that's how you and I live. If I want to spend $300 on something, I'm going to have to take that from somewhere. It's not going to magically appear. And when it magically appears, that's called credit. And credit just, credit is not a good thing because you end up wasting a lot of money on it. So I'm just going to put this up for a quick second because, again, these are people who we somewhat support or somewhat, try to placate, whatever. That's their levels of slavery. Yeah. So maybe we should worry a little bit more about if we're going to do this, if we're going to be out there in the world, maybe we should worry more about this than our own past. Worry about the present. Anyhow, I grew up loving Little Drummer Boy, so this one was pretty good, man. Mary, exhausted, having just gotten Jesus to sleep, is approached by a young man who thinks to himself, what this girl needs is a drum solo. Below, she disappointed that we'll never get to find out what was in the Build Back Better bill. And we never did know really what was in that. I don't think they know either. And that's the scary thing. Leftists wondering why their policy of complete and utter destruction isn't more popular. I mean, it's the way it's looking. Progressive church tells young unvaccinated couple stuck out in the cold there's no room. I'm not exactly sure where you find this progressive church, but I mean, there are some here, but okay. Oh man, I'm losing it. Political party that encouraged people to commit crimes, surprised that all the people are committing crimes. Yep, we're seeing that here for sure, man. I mean, I think it's pretty close to about one a day, maybe one every couple of days, and more and more issues with all the drug addicts out on the streets. Yeah, this is Bronco here. This is kind of what I secretly think was happening. Because, see, the media, of course, made it all about Joe Manchin. And he was probably the Democrat chosen to do that by the moderates. My guess is the moderates really didn't want to vote against this necessarily. I mean, they wanted to vote against it, but they didn't want to do it in a way that would cause backlash. Because, you start placating the far left gets stronger, makes more demands, and then if you're not far left enough, then they'll run a candidate against you. You see, because we've given them too much life in recent time. They need to get knocked back down. I agree with a lot of what the left believes in, but I stop far short of what the far left believes in. And I think a lot of them are in that same boat, and that's why they're thanking Joe for what he did. From one Joe to another. But, Manchin had the balls to do it. Yeah, smash and grab back better. Yeah, I don't, we can argue those, but you know what the intentions are. You do know. Come on. Santa Claus sleigh jacked while delivering toys in Philly. Oh, man. Yeah. I don't know. I mean, I think L.A. might be the place. Well, L.A. or Chicago. I mean, I believe, senator from Chicago was carjacked and her husband actually fired shots. Isn't that funny? They're in Chicago where you can't own a gun. The politicians walking around with a concealed carry permit. Yeah, I get it. I get that they have the need, but you could say the same thing about a lot of the citizens. Just because one person has some noble, profession, to say that they need it more than the average citizen, it's just dumb. It's just dumb. We live in an ugly world, and sometimes you got to fight back. I like this one. No politics at Christmas this year. Me, no problem. I'll just bring gifts. It's all wrapped in Brandon. Let's go, Brandon. Boom. Right there. And that was my contribution this Christmas. I gave my mom a patriotic elephant. I got that at the Reagan Library, right? Yeah, see, I missed it. There it is. See? I'm so good at this. Yeah. Oh. Unfortunately, my brother didn't get to see that. So as much as we fight, man, his wife is not well. Whew. Betty White realizing that this is the last year she can play with Legos. Freaking legend. Next month, January, is going to be her birthday, her 100th. A true treasure. True treasure. I loved her on the Match Game. And she's my number 6 chair. That's where she sat, 6, Joyce Bulifant was there and a couple others. But, come on, Betty. Betty gets the 6th spot. Right there next to Richard Dawson in the 5-hole. Anyhow, this is why we have the Electoral College. You don't necessarily want these people making all the decisions. See, it's easier for a conservative to become more liberal than it is for a liberal to become more conservative. Because usually it's a transformation. See, you end up leaving the Democrats and coming over to the Republicans, much like myself, because you see some of their wackadoodle shit and you go, whoa, I don't want any part of that. And we're doing it again. And, it's a cycle, man. Much like the climate and the changes on this planet. But they're using that. They're using every tactic in the leftist handbook. And one of these days, I'm going to really want to do a video on some of their steps. But anyhow, I've run out of things to say. So Merry Christmas, y'all. Copious out.